started with nothing, and I've done it.
Cockiness, arrogance. Everywhere you saw Brendan, you saw Naz. And then you start to see a change.
Prince Naseem Hamed has actually split with his trainer, Brendan Ingle.
The guy's just twisted and bitter.
He's got the problem. When I come over here at 18, I worked at a place, a small steel works that used to make blade knives for the paper industry, and there was a fella there called Georgie Lomas. And when I first come over, he says, "Nah, then, Dee, where's that come from?" And I'm looking at him, thinking to myself, you know, I can't understand him. You know, where he starts, he says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Where does that come from?" Oh, I said, "Where do I come from?" And I thought I spoke better English than what he did. They were lovely people at this place, Alfred Beckett's. I think it was that impression, working at Beckett's, that I stopped in Sheffield. 1960-61. The vicar there was a lovely man called the Reverend Fred Harrington. And he asked me, would I help out forming some sort of a youth club? At the time I was boxing amateur, and I says, well, you know, I'll go in and do what I can. I went in there and made a sort of a makeshift gym. You know, I got them in training, but also run a dance of a Sunday night for them because there was nothing happening around the place. Had all these boys and girls. That was an experience in themselves, having all these teenagers, 14, 15 and 16. They were as mad as March hares.
I went to the gym to make friends. I was 15 years old. Brainwashed, hypnotised. He got me the second I met Brendan. He said, "What have you heard about me?" And I said, "My dad said you're a con man." And he started laughing. He went, "Oh yeah? And what do you think?" And I said, "Well, I want to find out for myself." That was it. Ever since then, I just love being at the gym. Very good at getting you to ask yourself questions and believing in yourself. And I always thought, if you can do that to me, a kid that left school with no qualifications, no self-confidence, had no ambition, I was a proper mummy's boy, you told me that. This guy, you know, he can produce something out of nothing.
He's 13, 5 stone 4, moves very much like a sawn-off Harold Bomber Graham, and has excited his trainer.
Bomber was something exceptional. You know, Bomber was very crafty and get out of the way, and he didn't really show his potential at Naz's age, but Naz is something special. I think, you know, within 5 years, I can see him, 6 years, I can see him win an Olympic medal.
I'm all right, just moving and slipping, hitting, getting out of the way.
Was that your great gift?
Yeah, that's mine.
What about your punching power?
I'm not a really hard hitter, but I can hit when it comes to people who want to hit.
The bus is going up Newman Road, probably around break time, sometime in the early afternoon. The bus stop, there's a small wall, there's some railings, and I see this little fella, it's probably around 6 or 7 at the time, and two or three white little lads, and he's dodging.
I can't remember it at all myself, but Brendan seems to tell the story, obviously when I was younger and everything. And he told me it was to create interest at the time. And it did create a lot of interest, so I've got to give it Brendan. I just always wanted to be big, I always wanted to be the best in the world. When I came down to the gym at the early age, there was Harold Graham, Johnny Nelson, Brian Hanson. There's quite a few fighters that were doing very well. And I wanted to be up there and even bigger.
Naz was about 7 years old when he came in the gym. A little troublesome kid, mischievous, and he was very funny and loving, and he was a dreamer.
Naseem's now training hard for his chance to prove himself.
He looked up to me, to Herald. I want to be like those guys there, but he didn't want to just be like them. He wanted to learn what everybody else did and surpass it. And that's what he did.
I had the confidence in my abilities going through from 9, 10, 11, and obviously I got more confident. I had to find a nice, sparkling, ringing name for myself because I knew I was going to be big, you see.
The new bantamweight champion of Europe, Prince Naseem Hamed!
He was a pain in the arse, if I'm honest with you. Always asking questions, always wanting Brendan, what about this? Brendan, what about that? Brendan, what about this? Brendan, we're going here. Brendan, what we doing? Brendan, everywhere you saw Brendan, you saw Naz. And Brendan would introduce this little boy, Naz said, this kid's going to be world champion. He's going to be the best fighter this country's ever produced. Everybody thought Brendan was like a bit of a nutter. And Naz was only a little kid. He said, this kid is going to be brilliant.
Cockiness, arrogance, he was just so confident in his ability. An unbelievable fighter. We all knew that he was going to be good, probably not to the extent of how it panned out. But yeah, we all knew Naz was going to be something special and something out of the ordinary.
It was Nazmania, so to speak. When he boxed on a Saturday night, guaranteed on Monday afternoon, there was a queue down that road for people trying to join the gym. It was rammed and everybody wanted to come to this gym to train. They all wanted to be like Naseem Hamed, box like Naseem Hamed.
What Brendan saw, we couldn't see. What Brendan dreamt and what he could envisage, we just didn't get.
I mean, I turned pro at the age of 18, that was very young, but I still produced the goods and beat all the actual mature men while I was a kid at 18. I won the European and just kept defending my title and winning more titles.
He's just awesome, the way he moved, the way he punched. He just took that guy apart, never been stopped before, and he just battered him to a pulp.
His jaw was loosened with that.
I would say I've brought a sparkle in boxing. I'm not cocky at all, I'm just very confident. I did the business, you know, and comes 21, I won a world title. It was a dream, and the dream came true, you know.
Robinson had held the world featherweight title for 2.5 years and was fighting in front of his own home crowd in Cardiff. But here is the man who knocked him out in the 8th, Naz. Well, you said you'd come back when you had this. Did you think it would be quite so soon?
I didn't, but I got my chance and I took it with 2 hands.
I know it went to his head. I know Naz was a nice kid. Honestly, he was a nice kid. He's lovable, he was just friendly, he was jokey, he was like the best times ever. And then you start to see a change.
Prince Naseem Hamed generates more and more media interest with each fight, and today's appearance in London's West End was no exception.
I think Naz got to the stage where he thought he knew it all. He thought he knew more than Brendan. And then he started to challenge Brendan's authority, started to challenge Brendan's philosophy. And that's where the problem was. Brendan always said, it'll get to the point when I'll try and teach you, but when the student and the master get to the point and the student thinks I know it all, he's going to start questioning the master. And then that's where the problem's going to be. That's where the fallout's going to be. It was uncomfortable, it wasn't nice, and Naz was starting to be disrespectful to Brendan. He was undermining what Brendan did, and that wasn't comfortable.
People say to me, how would you describe boxing at its worst? And I say, well, it's a dirty, rotten, horrible, prostitute and vindictive game.
The way Naz was slowly but surely changing, it was uncomfortable because we loved Brendan. And I can remember saying to Brendan once, did money change you? And Brendan said, no, money just magnifies who you are.
After 17 years, one of the most productive partnerships in British boxing has come to an end. Sheffield's world champion boxer, Prince Naseem Hamed, has actually split with his trainer, Brendan Ingle.
I think its time had come to an end with Naz and Brendan. It's a long, long time to be doing the same thing and being around the same people. Good things come to an end, and I think it just the right time for them to split.
It was this book in which Ingle claimed that money had turned the prince's head, which provoked an increasingly acrimonious split.
That is one of the major factors involved in the split up of the relationship. For a man being with somebody for 17 years to go and say what he said to the public and come out in a book and say what he said is, for me, is wrong. It upset me and my family.
The last 4 years was very, very difficult.
But he stopped listening to you, didn't he? I mean, that's what this suggests.
Well, to a certain extent, yeah, it did.
I feel basically Brendan has done wrong, and deep down inside, I think he's going to realise what he's done is wrong.
I made a statement yesterday in the papers that I was only an amateur trainer. It's not a problem with me.
He called you bitter and twisted as well.
Listen, I haven't got a problem with it. Constructive criticism has never been a problem with me. He's got the problem.
I've been with a man 17 years and made a man a millionaire. It's hard to realise that all the guy's doing is just slagging me off and saying all the bad stuff. But you can see inside him when you're looking at him, every time he comes on camera, the bitterness out in him. You can see the guy's just twisted and bitter.
I just find it sad. I find it so sad. And Brendan said about Naz, he underachieved. To the things that he achieved, he said, this kid underachieved. He could have done so much more.
Naz lost his invincible tag after being comprehensively outfought by the Mexican Marco Antonio Barrera.
They always said Naz never boxed as good as like he did when he was with Brendan. And that's because Naz got knocked down or Naz were in tough fights. Naz got knocked down when he was with Brendan. Naz was in tough fights when he was with Brendan. So it's hard to say if he would have been any better if he'd have still been with Brendan.
When Naz switched on him, Brendan was heartbroken. And so I think that's why Brendan and Naz, in my book, never really made up, never really got together again. I hope one day he looks back and looks at it and thinks, no, I made a mistake there. I hope he does one day, but in my opinion, he should do.
He says to me one day, what would you do, Brendan, if you were in my position? I says, well, I'd probably stop boxing, go to university and get knowledge and wisdom. He says, well, I want to be, a legend. I says, well, you've asked me what I do. I'm explaining to you what I do. I says, you've got more money than you'll ever need in your lifetime. You've got everything you want.
I was a kid from the street from the age of 7 and come down to the gym in Sheffield. I'm from Sheffield. I was born and bred here. And I'm a prime example to any kid out there that I started with nothing, and my parents and nobody had nothing, and I've done it. I knew I was going to do it.
He just had his last fight with us. My dad says, that's me done, Naz, I'm not doing this anymore. He says, you're not doing as you're told, it's become hard work. He said, you do realise, Brendan, I'm going to be your only world champion. And my dad went, no, we're going to have more world champions. And Naz went, no, Brendan, because I'm special, me. There's going to be no more for you. It's not you, it's me. And he could see it. I just remember looking at my dad and seeing a flicker of doubt in his eyes, thinking, could be right.
Now then, Naz was Yorkshire's first world boxing champion, and now we've got another. On Saturday night, Johnny Nelson stepped from the shadows to take the WBO cruiserweight title by stopping Manchester's Carl Thompson.
If I had not met Brendan, I guarantee I would not have been world champion. I was that bad. I didn't start actually fighting until I was 18. I had 13 amateur fights, I won 3. Turned professional, lost up 33 on the trot. Within 4 years in total, I boxed a world title. And Brendan said, if you don't win, you're going to get a lot of experience. And he was right. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about people. I learned that I had to grow up.
Left jab, right jab. Collins is down again.
After I won the world title, they put the microphone in front of me. And they say I'm a fighter with no natural talent, no natural raw ability. I'm a product of the gym. I'm a product of Brendan Ingle, and I had to give to this man here.
I entered the gym with nothing, no natural ability, no natural raw talent. I entered the gym with nothing, and this is what it's about.
So it wasn't about me, oh, I've done it, it's out, I want this for my wife and kids. It was about, because he did it, he was the only one that truly believed and stuck by me from day dot to this point here.
He's the success of my gym. He was right at the bottom. When he come at 14, he got nothing going for him. And people used to say to me, after about a year, what are you wasting your time with him for? He's absolutely useless. And he finished up his world champion.
His reputation was on the line every time I got in the ring. And he stuck by me. So to me, getting the title wasn't about getting that belt. It was about showing Brendan your system works.
The amount of champions what come out of the Ingle gym through Brendan's method, his attitude, his character. I don't think there'll be a gym, or has been a gym, that's turned out as many champions.
Our gym produced 5, 6 world champions, 9 European champions, 16 British champions, I think 10 Commonwealth champions. In that little place in Winkerbank.
It was just a genuine, honest father figure to me.
Whenever I speak, I always mention Brendan.
And then I'll do a what?
I always mention him because he was an amazing man.
Scream, got near the door and couldn't wait to get out the door.
He had time for everybody and anybody.
So there's nothing, no matter what experience you go through, put it down as a what? A learning experience.
If you were homeless, you didn't have a job, you were struggling, or you was a world champion, you were a very famous person, he treated everybody the exact same.
He can talk to kings, he can talk to paupers, he can talk to politicians, he can talk to beggars.
Again.
And I've never met anybody like him, ever. There will never be another Brendan.